Hi, students. So, this is the Gnosis learning program for AP Physics C, Mechanics, and AP Physics 1. You can download our program from apexams.us/physics. Now, we teach AP Physics C and AP Physics 1, in a parallel structure, and we like to teach a little bit of vectors first and a little bit of calculus also, including for the AP Physics 1 students. So you have a little bit of an idea before you learn the concepts behind it. Now this lecture or this introduction will teach you about the exam structure and how to plan for the AP Physics programs. The AP Physics this year, last year we only offered AP Physics C Mechanics. This year we are offering both AP Physics C Mechanics as well as AP Physics C Electricity and Magnetism. Now, the AP Physics program is intended for students to learn foundational principles of physics, explore Newtonian mechanics, work energy power, waves and sound, and simple circuits. This is for AP Physics 1. For AP Physics C Mechanics, which is what you'll be learning in the first semester of the year-long program that we offer at Gnosis, the first semester you will learn purely mechanics, and we start with a quick introduction to vectors and then calculus, and then maybe you can some students can skip some parts of the calculus, while the students who take AP Physics C Mechanics should attend the full calculus introduction. Okay. And so then you will learn kinematics, Newton's laws, work, power, energy, and then rotation, and then oscillation and gravitation. Okay. That is the first semester. The second semester, you will learn electricity and magnetism in full detail for the AP Physics C students. Now, typically, there are prerequisites and co-requisites, right? A first semester course in algebra-based physics is typically a requirement, and you should be taking, say, Alg 2 or pre-calculus. We also have a pre-calculus program for students who want to take the pre-calculus course in parallel with our course. So, but you should be at an Alg 2 level, or either equal or have already taken it, okay, before you embark on AP Physics 1. Or taking we teach pre-calculus. You can start learning from that as well in parallel. Okay, then we also have AP Calculus BC program, and that can be taken in parallel, but typically it is better if you've taken a calculus before you take AP Physics C Mechanics as part of your high school program. Okay, it is recommended that it is a prerequisite, or at least it's a co-requisite. We teach a little bit also as a refresher. Okay, but then you can learn these things in parallel also from our AP Physics C Mechanics. Okay, so these are the dates from 2021, right? 2022 also has very similar dates. Only thing, there is no longer a digital program because COVID is now over. The AP Physics dates are in the first and second week of May this year as well, so 2023. Okay, so now this year the program is Tuesday 9th May, and the AP Physics C program, the mechanics exam is an hour and a half exam. The electricity and magnetics exam is another hour and a half exam, for a total of 3 hours for the students who are in the AP Physics C track. For the AP Physics 1 track or the AP Physics 2 track, right, the date is the 11th of May for 2023. So this is the second time we are offering AP Physics to students, and students should go to our www.apexams.us/physics and download the app from there. Now, the test format for AP Physics C this year, for AP Physics 1 is a 3-hour exam, and this year there is only a paper exam, and it's typically offered in your school. So it is a 90-minute multiple choice followed by 90 minutes of free response. The AP Physics C, on the other hand, as I said, contains two programs, two exams. So there's first the mechanics exam, and then there's the electricity and magnetism exam. The mechanics exam, students can choose to take only the mechanics exam. So if you take only the mechanics exam, it's maybe a little bit easier. Or if you want to do, you can take electricity and magnetism later. Okay, but you can take both in the same day. There are people who I know who take both and score well in the same day. Now, the typical process is to, you have a section 1 which contains 35 multiple choice questions, a section 2 which contains 3 free response. It's pretty much the same format for mechanics or for electricity and magnetism. Okay, these are the resources that you can go to. You can go log into apstudentscollegeboard.org, log in and take the exam. Okay, now it is to be taught as a second year physics course. So you should first have an AP Physics 1 type of exam or a plain physics class, and then you take AP Physics as the second time you learn physics. It is not good to go directly to an AP Physics C mechanics class. It is always taught as a second year class. Unless you have a preparatory pre-program or it's taught as a very intensive summer and full year program, it is preferred that you learn take physics twice. Okay, now AP Physics C mechanics should include a lab component. We do not teach the lab component. It should be taught in your school. Ours is a complement to what you learn in the school. This is the typical weightage for AP Physics C mechanics, and this is what we are going to focus on. As the year progresses, I will also discuss the second part, which is electricity and magnetism. But for now, just remember this. The first 5 units contain almost 80% of the course. Contain almost 80% of the weightage. Okay, and AP Physics C, these are the units. We will start with some calculus and vectors, then we will go to unit 1, then unit 2, etc. And then we will try to complete all these units before your December, early December sometime. We will complete all the units of AP Physics C. The AP Physics 1 course also follows a similar outline, and then we will, in the second semester, we will go to electricity and magnetism. So in January, we will go to electricity and magnetism. Now, AP Physics 1, on the other hand, is outlined in this framework, reflects a commitment to what physics teachers, professors, and researchers have agreed is the main goal of a college level physics course. Okay, AP Physics 1 is non-calculus based. The exam is non-calculus based, but it helps to know a little bit of calculus, or at least some pre-calculus. We teach a little bit of calculus even to the AP Physics 1 students, so that you can then appreciate how calculus based physics looks like. So these are the 10 units in AP Physics 1. There are the first 7 units which mimic some of the parts of AP Physics C. Then the last 3 units are a little bit different. So electricity and magnetism, DC circuits, they are a little bit different. AP Physics 1 is weighted towards mechanics, if you notice, right? For instance, these 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right, contain more than 65% of the course. So it is weighted to, although it's a 3-hour exam, it is weighted to mechanics. You have to be even better at mechanics in AP Physics 1. Okay, so don't take AP Physics 1 too lightly. If you take a vanilla physics course, you still must prepare for AP Physics 1, know how to deal with the free response. That's why we have this program. Notice the AP Physics C versus the AP Physics 1 score distribution. AP Physics 1 is the toughest to score a 5 on, because students take it earlier also. Okay. Now you notice also that the students seem to be doing better with AP Physics C, right? 5 and 4 here, right? Because a lot of these students are doing it the second time. They've already taken AP Physics 1 or just vanilla physics in high school, and they take it when they are older. Okay, but then some people may take AP Physics 1 in this junior year. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but what you should not do is not be fully ready for AP Physics 1, but still register for it. Okay, That is very important. That's why we recommend that you take parts of the other program. We also will be offering chemistry and biology, but we don't offer environmental science. Okay, so AP Physics C Mechanics, uh, AP Physics C Electricity and Magnetism, more students get the score of 5. We recommend that students plan to get either a 4 or a 5 in AP Physics C or in AP Physics 1. So AP Physics 1 students should prepare a little more because the percentages reflect that it's a slightly tougher exam, or relatively to where the student level is. Okay, this means that students have taken a physics class before and they are taking it a second time, but now with calculus. That's why you have higher, So typically study every week, purchase the Gnosis Learning Program, or otherwise if you're one of those students who are taking it using the library, the Amazon Fire tablet, which contains all the APs, so that is one way to do it, right? We will try to cover one unit roughly every 2 weeks, and so that we keep pace with the course. Now the lecture series is live and is is available as synchronous learning, but you can also learn from our app. Our app includes the textbook. Okay, then you can there is a there will be certain amount of preparatory requirement for students to little bit learn prior to each lecture. So learn from the app and also or from your school textbook. Okay, but we will do both multiple choice and free response. It is very important that students become fully acquainted with the multiple choice and free response, because that's how it is looked at. Students are encouraged to look at advanced placement and Khan Academy problems and solutions on YouTube, but we also provide some links to some of these freely available sources. Okay, we will assign some problems sometimes so that students can also practice. We try to provide a bigger basis for students so their grounding in physics is strong. Okay, so you can prepare for both. Okay, we have done a lot of preparation, and now we have an AP Physics, Electricity and Magnetism also with our Gnosis Learning Program. So plan to take at least 2 preparatory tests for each of, if you're taking AP Physics C Mechanics and AP Physics C Electricity and Magnetism, 2 for each of them. 2 preparatory tests at least for each of them. So you take one in mid-April, another one in late April. Okay, if you're taking the test in early May, because it's the first to second week of May, right? So, or you can move it a little bit earlier, first week of April, third week of April. Okay, so that would be a very good way to go about it. We will provide a test for students to take at that time. We can grade your exam if you scan and send it to us. We will suggest techniques to improve your score also. Okay, so these are the types of questions. This is a AP Physics 1 question. Okay, so here block A with mass M falls and sticks to block X, which is attached to a spring. Short time as later, as shown in figure 2, the blocks are at rest. At that moment, block Y exerts a force of magnitude F down on block X. Block X exerts a force magnitude F up on block Y. Which of the following relates F up, F down, and My, Mg at that instance? If you draw a free body diagram of Y, and Y is momentarily at rest, you can then say that the vertical forces, because it's at rest, the vertical forces are equal. Because it's at rest. So F up will equal mg. Now, if according to Newton's third law, F up should equal F down. If it is momentarily at rest, what it does not mean that its acceleration is 0. Okay, so F up equals F down, but MYG is, so right now what is which is the direction of the acceleration? direction of the acceleration is up. So because the direction of the acceleration is up, F up has to be greater than mg. F up equals F down, that we already know, right? Y applies a force on X, X applies a force on Y, and they are equal and opposite, right? But then what is important to note is, although it is momentarily at rest, it is accelerating. Momentarily at rest does not mean no acceleration. Okay, so F up minus myg equals mya, and the direction of acceleration is upwards. So F up is greater than myg. So the answer is A. Okay, very tricky question actually. I almost got it wrong, right? Why is that the case? That is the case if you're not paying full attention. Okay, just read these questions because they look to trick you a little bit. Okay, so why I discuss this question is, although some of you should not be scared, you will learn all this. You will learn all this in great detail as you take these exams. This is another question I don't want to go in. Now, the other set of type of question that you have in your exam is what is known as a free response question. A free response question will typically consist of a picture like this one, and then a set of A, B, C, D, E questions. Okay? And you need to write a paragraph argument as a short answer. So here is, and then when they mark your answer, they will mark it against a rubric, seeing if you have understood the concept they are expecting you to have understood for each of A, B, and C. If you reflect all the points that they want from you, you will score all these 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. All these points you will score. Okay, so typically, now here is a sample question from AP Physics C. The graph shows the position X as a function of time, X versus T of an object in linear motion. So there's an object moving in a line, straight line, right? Linear motion only along the x-axis. Which of the following graph best represents the velocity? The derivative of the position gives the velocity. So this is approximately linear, right? So it is but it is positive, so roughly A. Then it goes to a peak, which means it goes to 0, then it goes negative, and then finally it slows down, right? So it starts positive, but it's somewhat constant, almost straight, right? This is almost straight line. So its velocity starts positive but straight, right? Notice that B, C, and D have a negative velocity initially, but the X versus T is, which means that the velocity is positive. The slope of the X versus T curve represents the velocity. Okay, so a lot of things that you do in AP Physics C for the MCQs, you must understand in great detail. You must read the questions very, very carefully. I will not go over this question. Now, similarly, you just like in AP Physics 1, you have both MCQs as well as free response questions. AP Physics C also has, as I said, the mechanics has 3 free response questions. Here is a free response question that I got from College Board. There is there's a picture. Okay, then there are questions, and then there are A, B, and C. Notice the use integral calculus. So calculus is a requirement for students who take AP Physics C. So you have to do an integration to determine the rotational inertia. Okay, then you have to read the questions carefully and produce answers. Again, they grade against a rubric. Look, they do an integration to evaluate. Okay, so AP Physics C requires you to build some practice. and they have many parts to the pre-response question. Okay, so this is what the exam looks like. Now we first teach you a certain amount of calculus, then we teach you a certain amount of um, you download the app, then you learn a little bit about, the first thing you learn is vectors. Without vectors there's no physics. Then you learn some calculus. Even if you are an AP Physics 1 student, it helps to know a little bit about calculus. What is slope? Little bit then it really helps. And of course it helps if you take AP pre-calculus along with your AP Physics 1. We are teaching AP pre-calculus this time, although the exam is only going to be offered next year. Okay, our aim is to make it easy for students to do well. We are looking to have most of our students get a 5 or a 4. Don't put pressure on yourself. We are here to support you through this process, make it a little bit interesting and easy, and also help you, in case you need some additional help with some private coaching, etc. Okay, so our lectures are held on weekends. We hope to see all of you starting next week. The year-long program will run all the way till the AP Physics exams are held, which is the 1st to 2nd week of May. And our aim is to support students through the whole process and help students make a 4 or a 5 and do well in this program. And feel free to reach out to us. We have live lectures and also our app. So our live lectures complement our app. Our apps also have asynchronous learning. You can learn from the videos that overlay on the textbooks. You can use our textbook as well along with your school textbook. Do your homeworks in school. You will all do very well. So thank you very much. I'll see you in class.